I'm Peter Bois, nationally touring magician.
And I'm Gus Davis, nationally touring game show host.
We don't get regular Saturday nights because we are out performing on the weekends.
That's why Mondays are so special to us. They are our Saturdays.
We will help you get through your Monday by joining us on our Saturday.
Monday is the new Saturday.
Welcome to Monday Club. Welcome to Monday Club! Hello, all you beautiful Monday people out there. My name is Peter Bois. I'm here with my amazing buddy and Monday Club co-partner, Gus Davis. We are here to make your Mondays better. In this week's episode, we cheers to hand like Heinz. This is hilarious. We are taking you to beer school again. Gus has a boat and ATV adventure. Artificial. That's what I meant to say. Intelligence will kick your butt in video games. Gus has a heartwarming show. I just have a warm show. And we teach you some stuff about safety. And I recommend a piece of tech. So stick around. Welcome to Monday Club. Gus!
Cheers! Cheers! We're back!
We're back! We couldn't stay away.
Oh, man, I missed you, bud.
I missed you too, man.
Yeah.
Weekly therapy sessions with you have been so nice over the last year and a half.
Oh, my God. I think my life would be completely different had we just kept going on weekly Monday clubs. Like you could have altered the course of my history, man.
I think we did alter the course of our history.
I think we did. I think Monday Club, directly altered the course and trajectory of my history. I can't wait for today's Monday Club. It's going to be good, man.
Yes, me too. We're going to kick things off with a Cheers of the Week. And guess what? You found it. It's on Reddit.
Yeah, this is a good one. So, Monday Clubbers, this is, I guess this one sort of gets an NSFW warning. It starts off.
There's some blurry marks on the
video.
Yeah,
there may be some images that are blurred out on there. It starts off and it looks like it's a bad 1980s Skinamax film. Is that what you see too?
Yeah, it's like one of those teenage movies like that is all about, sex and growing up in the 80s. What is it? Porky, stuff like that?
Yeah,
that type of movie.
That. Right. So it starts off
they
and
could get away with a lot back then.
No, they could, yeah. It starts off with these two awkward teenagers who are sitting on a bed, and there's subtitles. It's all silent. There's subtitles, and the subtitles starts off with the girl awkwardly shaking her head like, "No, I don't want to do that." And the guy's subtitle goes, "Well, what about a hand?"
This is the negotiation tactics.
Yeah,
of,
negotiation
a teenager
101.
looking for a little.
And she's like, "Well, how does that work?" And what does he say?
He says it's like a ketchup bottle.
It's like getting ketchup out of a ketchup bottle. And she bites her lips coyly and finally nods and is like, "Yeah, okay, I guess we can do that." And he gets this huge grin on his face, and you can see him reach down and unbuckle his belt and lay back, and she grabs this blurred out pixelated image and then she just starts spanking it.
Like you would do when you're holding a ketchup bottle trying to get
the ketchup out. And then it switches over to the Heinz ketchup logo. And it's like, Heinz, the ketchup for all people.
Unforgettable moments.
Oh my God, it's funny.
So when you sent this to me, I was watching it, and it was very uncomfortable for a little bit because it looks like it might actually be a bad commercial, or it could even be. I don't even know.
Yeah, other countries have some strange ideas on what commercials should be.
Yeah, there was some other language wording in the end there.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what that was. And it was very uncomfortable for a while because I'm like, oh no, what is happening here? And then the payoff is huge at the end. Just, smack, 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 smack.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's pretty great. If you need a laugh, it is. We could not recommend it more. And I'll tell you what, I don't even care if it's a real commercial. Part of me thinks that it actually is. I think that I've seen some commercials from other countries that take sex way less seriously than we do here in America, and I'm gonna. My heart says it's a real commercial.
All right, here's a Monday Club challenge to everybody listening. If you can find the country of origin and whether this was an actual commercial once, we will buy you a drink.
Done. Yeah, absolutely done. And so here we go. Let's go ahead and raise our glasses high. First of all, for whoever put this together, or if this is a real commercial, the genius team of advertisers that made this happen, man, here's to you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And to that girl that slapped a dick. So it is like 100 degrees out up here in Maine. We've had ridiculous dew points and humidity. It's been ridiculously hot. And so I'm going with a mojito today. I need something that'll cool me off and make me feel refreshed. And this is what I'm going with. Very good.
Nice. I, Monday Club, am having what I like to call a painkiller, which is a glass of water and 6 Vicodin. So
what?
That's my drink of choice for the day.
A glass of water and 6 Vicodin?
Yep.
Oh my God. Monday Club, I think we have a story in store. You have not told me any of this.
Nope.
I'm intrigued. Way to tease the amazingness of what's happening. Gus is just sitting back with his mouth shut. He's like, I'm not spilling the beans till it's time.
That's right. That's right.
So thank you, Monday Club, so much for being part of Monday Club and being in our tree fort. So thank you guys so much. Make sure you sign up for our newsletter at mondayclubpodcast.com. We send out emails when episodes drop, and you can also get exclusive content up there. Also, you can write us. You can talk to us via email, mondayclubpodcast@gmail.com. And if you would like to buy us your favorite drink, we would love to drink it. So just you can buy PayPal us, mondayclubpodcast@gmail.com. The amount of money you got that it costs for the drink and what you want us to drink, and we'll go out and do it and give you a shout out on air. We're on Twitter too, Monday Club Pod, Instagram, Monday Club Podcast, and we're on Spotify and YouTube. So make sure you tell your friends about us and share your favorite episodes because we love you. Is there any more needed than just a little bit of love?
Man, I just want to say thank you all to all of you Monday Clubbers out there who have reached out to us and said how much Monday Club means to you. Monday Club is a labor of love for both Pete and I, and really, it's so cool to be able to spend our time together and also spend our time with all of you out there. So, yeah, from Pete and I, we cheers you guys. Thanks for hanging out.
We are taking you to school. Beer school, that is. Get ready for a fermented flood of facts about beer. Oh, yeah, we have some facts about beer for you. So this is one of my favorite new segments because I learn lots of crazy cool stuff about beer, the golden, amazing beverage that we all seem to enjoy on Monday Club. So we got what? We're going to throw out a few beer facts for you guys.
Let's do it.
So here's one for you. I got one. The oldest known recipe. Here, I'll put it as a trivia question, Gus. How old do you think is the oldest beer recipe?
How old is the oldest beer recipe? Well, I know George Washington used beer. I think Romans had beer. I'm going to say it's like a couple of thousand years old. So, I don't know, 4,000 years.
Holy sh**. You're exactly right.
Really?
Yeah. The oldest known recipe is for a 4,000-year-old beer made by the Sumerians.
What?
So there you go. Beer is...
I'm never right.
I know. That's why I was so surprised.
That's awesome, man.
I can't believe you got that.
Hells yeah.
You went from George, and you started out with George Washington. I'm like, oh, I'm totally gonna crush him after this. I'm gonna tell him how wrong.
Oh my God, that's funny.
And then you went to 2,000 years, and I'm like, oh well, I get to make fun of him a little bit, and then bam, 4,000 years.
Oh man, that's hilarious. All right, let's see. What's a good beer fact for me? Here's one. The first beer cans were produced in 1935. It's from Kruger's too, which looks like a racist Freddy Krueger on the can of beer. I might post this as a fun picture. Kruger's beer is the first canned beer in 1935.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's good. It's a good thing to know.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. So here's one we'll all appreciate. Beer, in part because it contains I can't talk today. Antimicrobial, there we go, ethanol, was a healthier drink than polluted Nile River water. So if your only choices were Nile River water or beer, you should drink the beer.
Wow. Yeah. Yep. Okay. How about this one? In 1963, Jim Whittaker became the first American to reach the summit of Mount Everest. A can of Seattle's own Rainer beer made the ascent with him. So he came all the way up Mount Everest with a can of beer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did he drink it up there? Did he say? Well, you can't. I don't think you can drink it on
probably
top,
not. It might kill you. You might open it and it just explodes.
Oh, here we go. All right. This one's great. This one's for all the hipsters out there with your beard oil. In Great Britain alone, 93,000 liters of beer are rumored to be lost each year in facial hair. So here's the thing.
What?
The hipsters are likely to have beards, right? And the hipsters are more likely to drink beer. They love their craft beer, right? But did you know you're wasting so much beer with that beard? So if you're a true beer connoisseur, you should shave your beard, right? Is that what they're telling us?
Yeah, they're saying don't waste it, man. That's totally wasteful. All right, man. I got one more. How about this one?
Last one.
In 1814, almost 400,000 gallons of beer flooded several streets in London after a huge vat ruptured in the parish of St. Giles.
Wow.
400,000 gallons of beer. That's like a tidal wave of beer.
You know there was a guy on the sidewalk with a straw, right? Or just a pint glass reaching down, dipping it in, and start chugging.
I would, man.
Oh, man. Well, there's your beer facts.
Nice.
Dude, so we haven't talked in a while. And
we got so much catching up to do, Pete.
Yeah. I got just a quick thing, because I know we want to learn what the hell's up with your Vicodin cocktail going on here. So I'm looking for a new costume for Summoning Spirits coming up in, I got a bunch of shows coming up in October for it. And I live in Maine, so we have what? We have a JCPenney's and a Macy's. There's not much shopping clothes-wise to be had around. We have a Nordstrom Rack. That's
good.
Some good decent stuff there. That's probably the best clothes shopping store we have. And so I travel to Boston when I look for, the cool clothes, things that I want to wear on stage. And so I traveled all the way to Boston, and I was expecting to find, a cool new, really dark, badass black outfit to be like all ghost story talking, and I found diddly shit. I came out of there with a pair of diesels, and that was it. Now this is two problems here. One of them is that sure, I didn't find the right stuff, but two, I have terrible taste when it comes to style. Like maybe not taste. I am impaired. I do not know how to choose clothes. I'll choose things, and then I'm just like, I just want to put a t-shirt and jeans on and throw on some sneakers and call it a day. And I'm just not good at finding clothes. So I'm thinking about hiring a stylist to dress me for my clothes now.
Dude, you should totally do that, man.
Yeah. Think it's a good idea?
Yeah, I totally think it's a good idea. Yeah, Absolutely. Find a director or somebody that you trust in the industry and have them help you figure out costuming. I think that'd be great, because the problem is you see it one way, but you see it from your magician's point of view. You don't see it from the audience's point of view. And so, yeah, having someone completely outside of what you do look at you and be like, well, here's the image that you're trying to project. Find this kind of costume. I think that'd be great.
Cool. All right. Well, I have some feelers out, so hopefully I will. If you see me all of a sudden looking dashingly,
it has nothing to do with me.
Yeah. I hired somebody to do that for me,
dude. I actually got not hired, but asked by a magician in Austin. This is years and years ago, but he came up to me all sheepishly after a Magic Club meeting and was like, "Hey, I really like the stuff you wear, and I'm going shopping for my new show. Can you help me, like, go shopping?" I was like, hell yeah. So I went out with this dude and took him shopping and got him looking fly.
There's nothing better than spending other people's money, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Plus, you can be really honest. You can just look at him and be like, hey, that thing that you're wearing, no.
Yeah. Especially
no.
when he asked you for to
right.
help. So you're what? You're the queer eye for the straight guy. You know, you're like, no, get that off and put something else on. That was the dress-up show, right?
Dude, so actually, man, I'm sorry, Pete. I just feel like we're gonna go 6 Vicodin. It's 6 Vicodin. So when I first started doing game shows, I was out there and I was looking for a full-on pimp suit, like zoot suit, crazy color pimp suit, right? And I couldn't find one. This is 15, 16, 17 years ago, somewhere in there. And so I couldn't find one, and I was looking everywhere. And finally, I went to one of my good friends who happens to be gay, and I was like, hey, man, I'm really sorry to ask this, and I hope it's not, like, inappropriate, but, I figured since you were, gay and a little flamboyant, maybe you could help me find a nice pimp suit. And he looks up at me, and he's like, dude, I'm really sorry to say this, and, I'm trying not to be, weird about it or anything like that, but you should really ask one of your black friends.
That's like two very awkward conversations just happening at the exact same time.
So we just died laughing.
Oh my god, that's wonderful. So did he end up helping you, or did you go to one of your black friends?
I went to one of my black friends. So in a way, he did help. Thanks for your honesty, Pete.
That's great. Oh man. So, quick update on my magic trick. It's called the Impression Vanish. I think I told you guys that last time or a couple times ago. I am releasing it in September. I have a release week. It's going to be released the week of September 13th. And I am pretty pumped. I have some pre-sale orders from some of the biggest magic shops in the country. And everyone seems really excited about this trick. I'm kind of blown away by the reception. I knew it was a good trick. I was happy to release it and thought I could sell a few of them, but I don't know. So far, things are looking good. So hopefully when it drops, everyone thinks that and buys it. But in the meantime, it's good.
Dude, I'm so proud of you. Good job. That always feels so good when something you've worked on for so long, like you actually see it come to fruition. Yeah, that's so cool, man.
And there's always something different when you go do your show for lay people and they come up to you afterwards and they say, we love it. And that's always good, and that's exactly who I'm trying to please. But, even if they just saw a hack that did a good job, they would still say that to that guy or girl, right? But when you're showing people in the industry, magicians that have seen everything, and they say they love it and it fooled them and we want to buy a bunch of them to sell to our customers, I don't know. There's something pretty fulfilling about that. So I'm pretty pumped about it, and I'll keep you guys posted when you can actually go out there and buy it.
Well, dude, here's a cheers to you, bud.
Thanks, man. One more Vicodin.
Oh, shit. All right, Pete, can I tell you a long story?
I'm going to sit back and sip on my mojito. Go for it.
All right. You are welcome to jump in at any point in time during this story, okay? All right, Monday Club.
Okay, I will.
I have not been active on social media for quite some time over the past 2 or 3 weeks. Some of you might have noticed. And there have been 2 events that happened to me back-to-back that were nuts. And so let me just catch you all up on everything that's been going on in the world of Gus. Number 1, my mom took my son to on a week-long vacation so that they could go and have fun and Bryce could enjoy his summer. And while they were gone, apparently, one of my mom's neighbors called the city on her because our sailboat had been moved to her front yard off to the side against the side of the wall of the house. So the only way you could see the sailboat is if you came into the driveway and looked to the side, like walked in her yard and looked to the side, then you could see it. But it was blocked from the front because she has a bunch of bushes in front of her house, and so that's the only way you could see it. The reason they called the city on her was because she had left some tires out in her front yard, because she lives in a type of neighborhood where if you leave something out on your front yard, someone's going to come by and take it. When I got my car tires changed and I had some old rotors, I just put the rotors out there, and within an hour and a half, they were gone. Anyway, so they called because it's against city code to have those tires. The city came out. The tires were gone, but they did see the boat, and they made my 91-year-old grandmother sign a note that says that she had 15 days of the signature of that note to get rid of the sailboat.
Why would you have to get rid of the sailboat?
Because either get rid of it, build a shelter around it, or put it in the backyard. We can't put it in the backyard because the reason it was in the front yard in the first place is because it used to be in the backyard where we had a big gate that we could move it in and out. But when we put my grandmother's addition onto my mom's house, it blocked up that space, and so we had to move it to the side yard up front. So we couldn't put it in the backyard, and this thing has been sitting still for about 2 years now. And when my mom, I didn't know about this, but when my mom got back, basically the timing worked out that we had 2 days to figure out what to do with this boat, or the penalties were a $2,000 fine and my mom would go to jail.
What? For having a boat in your yard?
For having this is part of they cited the city ordinance, and the city ordinance was like, yep, if it's not removed after the signature within 15 days, there's jail time and a $2,000 fine.
So you can't have a boat on your property, or it can't go above a certain height?
It has to, for wherever they were at, it has to be either enclosed in a shelter. So we would have to either build a barn-looking thing around it, or it can be in the backyard if it's covered.
Huh.
Right. Backyard was out of the question. Building a shelter for it was also out of the question.
I think they should come to Maine because there's a lot of broken-down cars in my neighbor's driveways.
Dude, they're everywhere, right? The more as pissed as I was, the more I looked around, the more pissed about this I was. It's not really the nosy neighbor's fault. Like, I mean, it is. But it's really the city that has this crazy rule that we had to follow. And they forced my 91-year-old grandmother to sign this thing, which freaked her out, got her sick. And then when my mom got back, like I said, we only had 2 days to deal with it, and so my mom was freaking out.
What happened? Okay, so why didn't the neighbor just go to her and ask her, "Hey, can you have someone move those tires?" It's kind of an eyesore. Because that's not the kind of
neighbor this is. This is the kind of watchdog neighbor that calls the cops on everything.
God.
And
so
again,
terrible.
Man, I've gotten over it. I'm not quite as pissed at that neighbor. They were trying to follow the rules, and instead of talking to humans, they just called the cops. So whatever. It's all done. So now I have 1 day, basically, to get this boat situation figured out before I'm leaving on a 7-day trip to Colorado to ride my ATV in the mountains. Okay?
Oh, man. You don't want that hanging over your head on your ATV
because literally,
trip.
if I leave and it's not solved, I'll be in Colorado without cell phone service, thinking I hope my mom's not in jail.
Yeah.
So I get online and I start trying to find out what to do with this boat, and finally I find a place that is like, hey, if you can get it to us, we'll take it. We'll take it off your hands. We're not going to pay you any money for it, and we're not going to come pick it up, but if you can get it to us, we'll take it. Well, like I said, this boat hasn't moved in like 2 or 3 years, and so in order to get to it, I had to get out there with a chainsaw and saw off all of my mom's bushes on the front of her yard that are in a direct line to where the boat was, back my car up, jack the boat up, which really wasn't easy because it was in like deep mud, so I had to be sticking like cinder blocks under there and just keep raising it up little bits at a time, hook it up to my car, pull it out, change the tires on the trailer, drag it around her property, move it out to the street, back it up into her driveway, and as I'm backing it up into her driveway, she has a weird driveway that like does a weird S-turn, and I was off by a little, and so I'm backing it up, and the stupid boat and trailer pop off the back of my car and fall sideways into her yard. The boat's like, I don't know, 2,000, 3,000 pounds, somewhere in there, and I'm blocking off the entire street while I'm trying to back it in, and as I'm blocking off the street, the recycling people come and they stop their recycling truck right next to my car that is literally sideways in the road making a T, and they just sit there taking a break. So luckily
of my this should be entertaining for a
pretty much
break.
So pretty much I have some cool neighbors too, and they all came out and helped me lift up the boat back onto the path, hook it back up onto my car, and back it in so that the stupid recycling people could go by. We get the boat cleaned up, I get the tires changed out, I get all the stuff thrown in there, and then it's like a 30-minute drive from where I am or where my mom's house is out to where the boat's final resting place is. Drag it out there, it almost pops off the trailer once. I have to restrap it down. But finally, we get out there, I park the boat, and it is this super shady place that is, I'm sure we got screwed hard on this deal. But the bottom line is, when it was all said and done, it took an entire day. Also, they wouldn't take it without the trailer title. We didn't have the boat title. We didn't have the boat title at the time. So in the middle of all this, I had to take my mom's car out to one of the 2 places in Texas that has immediate titles and pay a bunch of money to get a new title issued for the boat so I could take it and deliver it to this guy. Anyway,
so you had to give it to this guy?
I just gave it to him.
We gave him
a sailboat.
That was working.
It needed some work, and I mean that's part of the reason why it was sitting there for so long, is because it needed a lot of work, and really, at the end of the day, the amount of money we would have spent to fix it is the same amount of money I could buy a used sailboat for to just putz around on the lake with. So it's all going to be fine. It's all good. Yeah. My mom is no longer under threat of jail, but it was definitely a stressful 24 to 48 hours of everyone freaking out, my mom getting sick, my grandmother being sick, and me trying to pull a boat out of the mud and get it out where it could go. So call that Tuesday. Okay.
It's still going.
Yeah,
folks. Yeah. It's still going.
Wednesday, I packed. No, that was Wednesday. Thursday, I packed and packed all this camping gear up, went and met my friends out in about 45 minutes away is where my friend lives. He has a little piece of property, like 5 or 6 acres out in Bastrop. So met up with them. We got in the car. We loaded up my ATV. We loaded up all our camping stuff, and we took off for Divide, Colorado, which is it's Pikes Peak in Colorado. And the idea was we left at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and we all took turns driving, and we made it to Colorado to our campsite, which is rustic camping. No bathrooms, no showers, no fire grills. Just you dig holes and you make fire, and you poop in the woods and all that stuff. We made it there in about 16 to 18 hours just driving straight. Well, I'm the only one who's used to doing long drives, so I drove from about 10 o'clock at night till about 6 o'clock in the morning when we finally got there. We get there, we find a beautiful camping spot. We set up this amazing campsite where we have a fire pit. Everybody brought their own canopy cover. We have 2 giant tents that are both 16-person tents that we load our stuff into. And dude, for 4 days, we just drove around on these gorgeous ATV and dirt bike trails and got to the top of mountains and found these vistas and just sat out and enjoyed nature and cooked s'mores and ate meat and all that stuff out in Colorado. It was just perfect, man. It was gorgeous.
That sounds unbelievable. I am very jealous. Does Colorado have ticks?
I don't know, but not where we were. We were up so high that there wasn't. We didn't even have mosquitoes up where we were. So it was
lovely.
really nice. The weather during the day was about 72 to 74, and at night it was somewhere in the upper 40s, lower 50s. So hanging out by the fire was nice and chill, and then everybody climbed in the sleeping bags and knocked out, man. I think we had 180 beers between us, so we were all good,
ready to go. Wow. So in Maine, or up around where I live, anyways, we've had some pretty big downpours the last couple of weeks, and it just woke up the mosquitoes. And you go outside, and within a minute, you have 5 to 10 mosquito bites. That's not even a joke. Every time you walk outside, you're spraying bug spray just because it's so freaking annoying.
We got so lucky on this trip, Pete. So there was a burn ban that was in Colorado up until the day before we left. The day before we left, they lifted the burn ban because it's monsoon season up there, and so they had gotten enough rain. And then we got there, and the first day it rained on us, but after that, it never rained on us again the entire time we were there until the day we left. After we left, it started raining again. So, I mean, it was just, we couldn't have asked for better weather. Yeah. And the ATV trails, the dirt bike trails were just, I mean, they were so gorgeous, man. Like, took you through woods, through mountains, through lakes, through rocks, through sand, just and up to these magical places that it seems like no one else has ever been to. I'm sure anyone else who's ever done that trail has stopped at these places too, but you can climb up on these rocks and you're just sitting up there looking 360 degrees from the top of the world looking down, and it was just perfect, man. It was so cool.
That's great. I ask about ticks because we have terrible tick problems up here in the Northeast, and it is so freaking annoying because these ticks they carry Lyme disease, and they're starting to carry like these other crazy deadly diseases, and I love being outdoors and climbing and hiking and doing all that stuff and camping, but I'm literally scared for my life to go into the woods now. It's so freaking annoying.
Yeah.
So
sorry,
I
man.
think I need to move to Colorado because
dude, I would move to Colorado in a heartbeat. It was just perfect. So I say all that because that was the first 4 days, and the last day that we were there, we did 2 rides. The first ride was great. The second ride, my friends are all on dirt bikes, and because they're on dirt bikes, they can go a lot faster than I can. And up until this point, what they've been doing is hauling ass all down the trails, and whenever there was a junction, they would stop and wait for me, and I would come puttering along in about 10 minutes or so, and we would all high-five, and then we'd say which trails were going on, and then they would take off, and I'd follow them. So this last day, everything had been going so smoothly that my friends were sort of like, we're going on this trail, and then they took off, and I either didn't hear them, maybe they didn't say which trail they were on, I don't know. But it was like a comic book, dude. They left, I started going, there was a couple of different options for which trail we were on. I look at which trail they would have taken. I look at the map, I was like, we haven't done this trail, so I guess this is the trail they were on. I went through that trail. There was another junction. I didn't see them, so I kept going. And at this park, there's 200 and something miles of trails. There's something like 2,000 miles of national forest. And it just so happened that the one trail that I took was the one trail that they have at this park that is not for ATVs, not for dirt bikes. It is only for super crawlers if you have a Jeep that has been totally tricked out with giant wheels and off-road stuff.
Oh, no.
So the entire trail is super technical. It's like downhill, like at a crazy angle, and the further I go, the more dangerous it is. I'm like, God, this is terrible. But I think I'm almost at the end, and I look at my map, and I'm like, yep, the end is right around that corner. I go around the corner, and Monday Club, I kid you not, it was a straight downhill, just straight, that was made of all sand and loose rock with these giant ruts in it that are big enough that a car tire can just go get completely lost in this 6-foot drop that is the rut that is there. But by the time I realize what's happening, I'm already like halfway down this mountain going straight down, and it's so straight down that both of my brakes are locked, and I'm still going at about 15 miles an hour straight down, leaning back and trying to navigate as best I can. Finally, I get sort of like at a 45-degree angle and wedge one of my tires into the rut, and I stop. And I get off the bike, and I look, and the last part of this mountain that's straight down is the cracks are wider than my wheels. In order to even get around this giant cliff that literally is a drop off the mountain, I have to wall ride for about 15 feet just on the side of the mountain before I can even get to flat ground. And by flat, I mean it's pointed straight down, but it's not a cliff that's going to kill me. And I'm like, well, crap, I can't do that. Like, there's no way I can do that. And so I get off my bike, I turn it off, and I was like, well, I guess the only thing I can do is climb back up the way I came. And it is so slippery and so steep and made out of sand that I quite literally cannot walk back up it. It's impossible.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, well, okay. All right, well, maybe I can slide down it. Just slide down. And I realized, like, well, I might be able to do that, but if I slide down, I can't get back to my bike because my bike is on the side of this one side of a cliff, and there's a big like I said, a drop-off that I have to get around. So I was like, all right, I at least have to get around that part. And so after about 20 minutes or so, I work up the courage, and the only way to do it, dude, was to put it in first and gun it as hard as I could, and then let go of the brake, and the speed pointed straight down, speed out sideways, and ride the wall like a circus. And so you ride the wall and then slam on the brake to get back to the other side. And I did it. I made it around the big cliff. Yeah.
What?
So I made it around.
Freaking insane.
Wait,
dude.
wait. I make it around the big cliff, and I'm like, okay, now the next part is still straight down, but there are these ruts that are, like I said, bigger than my tires. And I don't know, I literally have no idea how I'm supposed to get around these things. And so I wait there for about 10 minutes or so, maybe 20, and I'm waiting to see if my friends are going to come back for me. And I realize, well, crap, man, they definitely did not take this path. Like, no one takes this path. So I'm kind of on my own here. So I get back on, and I do my best to try to ride it, but because you're going straight down, you're carrying a lot of speed. And what I didn't realize is that anytime I hit my back brake, what it does is it locks up my back brake and makes me fishtail. And so I did lock up my back brake. I fishtailed, and because I fishtailed, both of my tires ended up in that 6-foot drop in the crack, and so my bike flips sideways. I flip off of my bike and flip over the handlebars. Okay? I flip over my handlebars, and I definitely break my leg.
What?
Definitely.
You broke your leg?
Wait, I'm not done. I definitely broke my leg. Now, I tell myself when I'm laying there, that hurt, like a lot. but I can put a like survival instinct kicks in, so I can put a little tiny bit of weight on it, as in I can like hobble step with my foot. But now I'm still on the side of a mountain, and so I lay there for about 10 minutes or so, and I realize, like, man, by this time, if my friends haven't found me, like, they're just not going to find me anytime soon. And my best bet is to make it back up the mountain, but I couldn't make it up the mountain on 2 legs. There's no way I can do it on 1. So, looking down, the reason why I was even trying to go down there in the first place is because there's another path that this downhill intersects with, and I figure if I take that path, at least it's on the ground and I can walk the path up back to where our campsite is, which I'm about 5 miles away from our campsite at this point in time. So I'm like, okay, well, let's go down. So I slid down the mountain. I get to the path. I'm like slow-moving zombie walking on this broken leg. I round the corner, and there's a pond, like a big-ass pond, that's blocking the entire path. And I look at that pond for a long time, and I'm like, well, if I try to cross this pond, best-case scenario is both of my shoes and socks get wet. And but it's probably like 3 feet deep, 2 or 3 feet deep, and so it's going to get my shoes, socks, and pants wet. Best case scenario. And if I have to spend the night here, that by the way, it's also like 5 o'clock now, so the sun's not going down yet, but I can tell it's gonna go down here in a little while. And so I'm thinking I might end up having to spend the night outside where there's bears and all kinds of stuff.
But no ticks, so you're all right.
No ticks, yeah. So I'm like, well, okay, I guess I really don't want to spend the night with wet shoes and socks and pants because it drops down into the 40s. So, and I might trip and slip and fall, and I know my leg is already hurt. I might hurt the other leg, so the pond is out. Okay, well, maybe I can go around the pond. So I like shuffle and scoot back around to where the pond is, and it's just open wilderness as far as I can see. And I was like, well, I think I could probably cut through this open wilderness and end up back on the pond. And then I was thinking, or back beyond the pond. And then I was like, man, like, if I get off the path, one, if I trip and fall and I'm off the path and just out in the wilderness somewhere, no one's ever going to find my body, like ever. 2, the grass is so grown up that I could step on a bear or a snake super easy. 3, even if I just fall, the grass is so tall that no one would be able to see me off of the pond. 4, like, I'm already sort of lost. If I get lost out in the wilderness, no one's going to be able to find me. So I look down at my phone, and I have 0 cell phone service because I'm at the bottom of a mountain. And so I was like, well, I guess my best bet is to climb to the top of the mountain so I can try to get cell phone service and get help. So I look, and going back up the path that I walked around is a runoff place where the water runs straight down the mountain, and it had carved a groove into the side of the mountain. And I was like, well, I guess I can get my knee in that groove and climb up the mountain without using my foot. So I broke a stick in half, making 2 spikes, and I quite literally put my knee into the crack, stabbed the mountain with my 2 spikes, used my good foot, and pulled myself up, and just kept going like that for 2.5 hours to try to make it up out of the mountain. I also, it's Colorado, so there's like everything you do there, you get out of breath. My leg is broken, so that sucked. And, and I'm conserving my water because I'm still not sure if I'm going to be able to get out of there before it's dark. So 2.5.
This is how terrible movies start.
Yeah.
And
yeah. So,
yeah. Did you have a hatchet with you at all?
No, I just had 2 pointy sticks.
Oh my goodness. I
did have a flashlight. I had some Advil, and I had a camel pack that still had water in it. So I had and a pocket knife. So I had some things with me. I also had long johns with me and some rain gear closed. So I mean, I could have stayed out overnight if I had to, but it would have sucked really bad. So anyway, 2.5 hours climbing a mountain with sticks, and the mountain's straight up still. Climbing it up, I got to the top of the spot. I was so excited. I got there, and I looked, and I wasn't even close to the top of the mountain. Not even remotely close. Mountains are tall. And so I was like, damn it. I looked at my phone. My phone still had no service. So I turned the volume of my phone on, stuck it into my pants, figuring I would hear dings as soon as I got to a place that there was cell phone signal. And I threw my sticks away because when I got to the top of that spot, I found the path that I originally was on, the trail that I was originally on. So then I got 2 new sticks that were my walking sticks, used them as crutches, and hobbled my way back down this path. Took me another hour and a half, and I rounded the corner, and I ended up back at one of the splits, the junction boxes. So now I have the path that I was on and the junction box with another path, so I can tell somebody where I am. And it was like magic, dude. As soon as I got there, and my face is turning green, and my foot has swollen up inside of my boot so much that it's like poking out of my boot. As soon as I got there, it started dinging. My phone started dinging. And so I was able to text my friends and be like, hey, I'm at this spot. They, on the other hand, had spent all 4 hours that I was missing driving all around the park, everywhere that they could think that I might have gotten lost, which wasn't, by the way, anywhere close to where they thought that where I actually was. But they had spent 4 hours just nonstop searching for me. They had called my wife, so my wife literally thought that I was dead for about 2 hours.
My
She just
God.
absolutely thought that I was dead for 2 hours. And they were on the phone with Search and Rescue, trying to see if Search and Rescue could start launching the helicopters to see if they could find me. Okay?
Wow. Yeah. Well, at this time, it's about 8 o'clock getting dark,
yeah,
right?
it's like 30 minutes till dark.
Yeah.
Okay? I get in contact with them. They're like, do not move. I was like, don't worry. I scuttled myself up against a tree, and I laid back against a tree, and knowing that I had saved myself, that people knew where I was, and I took a couple sips of water, and I had a beautiful vista of the top of the mountain looking out, and I dug around in my backpack, and one of my friends had said, this is like a day before, like, hey, on the last day, let's all find this really cool spot, and we'll all drink a beer. And so I reached down into my backpack, and even though I had flipped off my back off of my ATV, even though I had slid down a mountain, even though I had gone through all those crashes, there was a Sam Adams that was stuffed at the bottom of my camelback. So I pulled my Sam Adams out, cracked the top, and sat back leaning against a tree and drank my beer as like I could hear all of the engines coming down to come and get me. So one of my friends has a badass 4x4 truck, and he was able to come down one of the paths and come and actually get me in his truck, so I didn't have to ride on the back of a motorcycle. So he picked me up in his truck. 2 of my other friends went to the bottom. They took a different path, went to the bottom of the mountain, and then were able to lift and pull my 4-wheeler up, and one of them drove it back to camp. So by 8:30 at night, all of us were back at camp. All vehicles were back at camp. My ATV is not broken in any way, shape, or form. It rode all the way back just fine. And I'm sitting there with my leg propped up on a cooler with a couple of beers strapped to it to try to keep it iced, and we're having s'mores.
Oh, my God.
The next day, we wake up. We have to tear down camp. We get in the car. And
So is this cutting your trip short because of your injury?
No, that was the last day.
Yeah.
The next day we tear down camp. We get in the car. I sit in the back seat with my leg tucked underneath the driver's seat, and it's a 16-hour drive straight back to Austin. I cannot tell you how bad that sucked. As soon as we get back to Austin, I get a breakfast taco and go straight to the minor emergency center where they take x-rays, and they're like, hey, so it looks like you have 3 shin bones right here.
Oh, my
So
God,
it's definitely
dude.
broken.
Oh, my God.
Then they got me an emergency doctor, orthopedic surgeon's appointment for that same day. Went to the ortho, and the ortho was like, yeah, man, the way it's broken, you won't need surgery. Just keep it iced and rested and get off of it until Hopefully by in 2 weeks or so, you'll be able to put a tiny bit of weight on it, which is good because that's when my tour season really kicks off.
Which
so I
leg,
can't
right or left?
Left.
Oh, it's not the gas leg.
And it's not the gas leg. That's right. I can still drive. So Monday Club, to wrap this all up, I have been on nothing but painkillers and water, rest, and ice this entire time, and I'm hoping to be back on tour by the 15th. Moving a little slow.
Wow. Dude, that was an epic story. The only reason why I enjoyed that story, I was in pain when you were in pain in that story, but it was like one of those based on a true stories where you know how it ends because you're obviously alive and talking to me. So I'm like, okay, it looks like he's okay. I'm talking to him. This isn't a recording of Gus. He's alive, so I know he makes it out somehow.
Right.
And wow, that's incredible, man.
Yeah.
At any time, did you think you were going to die in the woods in Colorado?
No, I never thought I was going to die in the woods. I definitely thought that there was a chance I was going to have to spend the night in the woods, and my 2 sticks weren't going to cut it for fighting off bears. But it was one of those things where I was just like, I mean, it sucks, but I can, even if I only move 1 inch per minute, if I can move 1 inch per minute going in the right direction, that's at least a good start. So
yeah.
I just kept that in mind and 1 foot in front of the other, and eventually it all, I mean, I cannot tell you how sublime the feeling of knowing that my cell phone finally was getting service, hearing all the dings of all the people looking for me, and being able to text out and then get a reply text. That was pretty special.
Yeah, I think you made all the correct survival choices as well.
Yeah, I felt really good about it.
Minus going down that trail in the first place.
Sure, absolutely.
The way your thought process, not going into the long grass and getting back onto the trail that you knew was there and going up rather than down. And
right.
Yeah, I think I don't think Bear Gillis could have done it any better.
Thanks, man. Yeah, one of the dudes who was with us was retired Army, and at that night when we were sitting around the bonfire, one of my friends was like, everybody was joking with what their experience of the day was, and one of my friends was like, I mean, after we had to go rescue your ass, and the Army dude like jumped in, he's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Look, we can talk a bunch of mess right now, but let's be honest. Gus rescued himself. Then he told us where to come pick him up. And I was like, hey, thanks, Army man.
That's awesome. That's a great way to put it. Gus rescued himself, and then we just had to pick him up.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Well, I'm glad you're doing okay, and Monday Club wishes you a speedy healing of your bone.
Thanks, man.
This week in the news.
This week in the news, we're talking artificial intelligence. So there is a open AI project, which is Open Artificial Intelligence, and apparently they beat semi-professional gamers, which is a weird term to begin with. Or,
right.
Like, you get paid to play video games. That's pretty awesome. At Dota 2, do you know Dota?
I don't really, but I looked it up, and apparently it's a huge, massive online gaming thing.
Yeah, okay. I've never played it myself, but they beat a team of the best semi-professional gamers at this game. So this proves that we are about to be taken over by artificial intelligence and robots.
Well, dude, this AI thing is really interesting. So what they basically did, I don't know how much of the article you read, dude, but like what they basically did was they have this AI, they plugged it into the game, and they were like, we're not going to tell you anything about it. Just you figure it out. And so the AI started off as less than a child. It didn't know anything about it. And over the course of some number of months, went from not knowing anything to sort of being able to figure out the game to being able to beat beginners to being able to beat intermediates to now being able to beat this team of retired or semi-professional gamers on this game. It beat them 2 out of 3 times handily. And the third time, humans won, but barely. And so
but they got to pick. They actually got to pick the characters, so
Right.
they got to choose what they thought they could beat, probably.
Right, and after the third time, they did win, but the computer, the AI, has definitely learned a lot from this experience, and so now the next step for this AI is to go to this world championship, and they're going to do a spectator bout with the grand champions of this game playing against this AI and see how they stack up. And one of the things that in the article the players were talking about with this artificial intelligence is humans have to take time to make decisions. They're like, well, should we fight this battle? Should we back off this battle? What should our strategy be? Whereas the computer looks like it's just doing this random stuff. It'll just start setting things up. But from the very beginning, it knows what it's doing. And so, like I said, the very first battle, the AI just whipped the butt of these human components. What do you take from all of this, Pete?
A bunch of things. First, actually, here are some numbers that we can take solace in, right? It took the equivalent of 180 years worth of games for this AI to learn enough to beat humans. So that's pretty good.
I mean, sure, but it played those 180 years worth of games in a few months.
Yeah, okay. True. And it took 128 processor cores and 256 graphics processors to train the AI. So it took a lot. So still technology. So it's, yeah, we can. My point is that we come fully equipped to do this stuff. AI had to go through a lot of work to learn this stuff, but it's only going to get faster. And here's my final takeaway: they can strategize war strategy. So we're doomed. That's my final takeaway. We are doomed.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you think? So what inspired us talking about this article was a different article. Our good old friend Elon Musk, who is in almost every episode of Monday Club in some fashion or another. Elon Musk just put out a statement where because of this AI beating this human team, he wants to make, human AI interfaces?
Yeah, where we can interact, we can plug ourselves into a computer, interact with artificial intelligence.
Yeah, man, I feel like you're jumping the gun on that.
He wants to do this. It's called. He founded a thing called Neuralink because he wants to basically be friends with the AI before they take us over. It's like he wants to create a relationship and a pathway to discussions before they start taking us over. This is so weird because didn't Elon Musk predict artificial intelligence should be banned and really restrained by governments because they're going to take over the world? And now he's trying to. Maybe he's like an evil genius where he's. On one side, secretly, he's promoting artificial intelligence and these Neuralinks, but publicly he's speaking out against it so he doesn't get any flack about what he does behind closed doors. And eventually, maybe he's a robot. Maybe he's an alien from another. Maybe he is a walking artificial intelligence computer, and he's sent here by aliens to... I don't know. That was way
to warm us up,
off.
to bridge the gap. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think I take two things away from this. Thing number one I take away from this is that I have started being much nicer to my Alexas and Siris. Everything they do, I say thank you very much. I ask them if they need anything. That's what I've been doing. And thing number two, if you happen to be listening to Monday Club right now and you are pregnant with a male child, I'm going to suggest you name it John Connor so it can be the leader of resistance against the rising of the machines. Because, man, it seems like it's coming.
Yeah, I agree. Well, all right, let's go to some stories from the road.
All right.
Hey, it's time for Stories from the Road.
So I haven't been crazy on the road lately. I've been doing a few shows here and there, but I had a gig at some gigs at summer camps, and all I can say is that heat and humidity makes kids very docile.
Yep.
If you ever want a kid to either be moody or docile, just throw them in a sauna. But I was so stupid. I brought my mic stand in for this show, and afterwards they were doing a big a thing for the campers, and I totally forgot my mic stand on stage. You ever leave behind something at a show and you just
yeah, dude.
and
I've
when you
left
get
all
home,
kinds
you
of
realize,
stuff. I've left doves. I've left I've left tables. Yeah, I've left all kinds of stuff at shows before, so don't feel too bad.
Yeah, I mean it was only like a $20 mistake, but still, it's always upsetting. Yeah, that's about it for me from the road. What do you got?
All right, man. Man, I got to do before I had to deal with my mom's boat. Actually, yeah, it was the day before I had to deal with my mom's boat. I went to do this show that I've done every year for the past 12 years. It's called it's for the Sunshine Kids. The Sunshine Kids is a camp organization. I believe it's a 501c3 nonprofit for children with cancer. Most of them have terminal cancer, and so they provide just an amazing summer camp for these kids, and there's chapters all over the country.
We have one 30 minutes from me.
Do you?
Camp Sunshine on Sebago Lake.
It's a great organization, and like I said, I've been part of it for a long time. And it's one of those shows that I do that is very personal to me. I've gotten to be friends with a lot of the people that I've met at those camps and gotten to be on social media with them and watch their stories and triumphs and struggles and sometimes heartbreaks. So it's a very important show to me, and I go in there and I just bring everything. I just bring every trick that I like to do, and I ask them during the show, I'm like, hey, if there's something you'd like to see, or if there's something that you were like, hey man, that was super cool, can you do anything else like that? You have free reign during the show to just yell that out, and I'll do my best for you. And so this show was a lot like that. Pre-show, I had everything set up, and I was sitting in the wings watching the kids and kind of picking some people that I thought could do a good job when they came up on stage. And I walked out on stage, and I started doing my show and instantly realized that my first half of my show just wasn't going to work the way that I had thought about it. Those kids were just, the ones that I had picked to do these tricks were just too sick to do it, and so I had to improvise and freestyle, which is fine because, like I said, I brought a lot of stuff to do. But here's a pre-teachable moment. One of the things that I've started to do is I've gotten rid of a side table, and instead of the side table, I use a stool, like a flat folded stool, as a table. It has enough surface area that I can put something on there, and it'll stay just fine. But I've found that it has a couple of other magic uses for me. One of those uses is if I bring somebody up on stage who's bouncing around a lot, I can just say, hey, have a seat on this stool, and then I've locked them into one space, and I can do all of the other magic stuff that I need to do, which has been very helpful. But in this situation, I had the stool up on stage. I called somebody who was very excited to come up on stage. He was in the back row. I called him up, and he stood up. He had a blanket on, and they'd had to amputate one of his legs. And so he just comes, like, hopping up onto stage. And I was so grateful to have a stool right there because I look like a badass. I was like, oh, yeah, have a seat right here, and then did the rest of the trick like it was no big deal.
Wow,
so
yeah.
I didn't end up looking like an asshole. So that's my bonus teachable moment right there. Bring a stool for all of your shows. You never know when you might need to have someone sit down. Anyway, it was a really great show. It was heartwarming, and if you are looking for a good place to start with helping out with kids in need, or especially if you just want to throw the middle finger up to cancer, the Sunshine Kids is one of those organizations that I support.
That's great, man. You got a big heart. I'm doing a fundraiser for the Barbara Bush Children's Hospital next week.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Part of a fundraiser. I didn't organize it, but yeah, they asked me. They do a whole day thing, and they asked me to come in and do a little bit on stage. So yeah, I'll be doing
Awesome.
that. And yeah, totally. I agree.
Yeah.
Help the kids out.
Hey, here's to cancer. How about that?
All right, yeah. Cancer. We can agree to that.
Teachable moments.
Ladies and gentlemen, my teachable moment is... Well, actually, I want to reiterate an old teachable moment. You can always ask. Don't be shy to ask for things that you want. There's this program that... it's a service. It basically simplifies my CRM software. So it's an interface, it's a skin for my current CRM software, and it is $70 a month service. And I was looking into it, and it looks like it can do everything I want it to, because I think I'm about to hire someone part-time to start doing some calls for me. And my CRM is so intense, and the interface is not simple. And for someone you're hiring to just do a very specific task, it's just too much. It'll take them forever to learn. So if I can just give them what they need to see and nothing else, that's perfect. And so basically $70 a month. So I emailed them and said, hey, I love your service. I think it's going to work for me, but $70 is too much. I'm a one-man operation thinking about hiring someone else. I was looking to pay $15 to $20. I know it sounds crazy, but could that work out? And they emailed me back and they said, sure, you caught me in a good mood today.
That's awesome.
So I literally shot, shoot from the hip. I had no clue what to expect. I'm like, people are people. Maybe they'll help me out. I mean, And so yeah, I think I'll be able to get it for $20 a month. So never hurts to ask people. Just ask. Make a case. Make a simple case, not a crybaby case, but a simple case, and ask.
Dude, that is so dope, man. I have to also say that I've taken your teachable moment to heart. Like, you have to ask. Overall, the doctor's appointments that I've had to get, most of them I've called and been like, hey, I need to come in right now because I need to be healed from a broken leg in 2 weeks. And they're like, yeah, we have no appointments available until the middle of August or October. And I'm like, yeah, no. Let's try this again. Hey, can I come in today? And they'll put me on hold and they'll be like, can you come in like 15 minutes? Yep. All right, yeah, sure, we'll see you today. Great.
It does. Just asking. Here's another thing. Yeah, I for the Impression Vanish, I started emailing out people asking for testimonials, quotes about the trick, and just all you have to do is ask. I got a couple of big names that emailed me back and said, "Yeah, you can use my quote to help promote it." And then there was another one, a really huge name in magic that I can't name, but I asked them for their I started off, I know this sounds crazy, but would you be able to do it? And unfortunately, they couldn't because they're not allowed to promote other people's magic. But they said they loved it to me as a personal thing to me, and so that was just nice. I was like, sweet, I feel good. This person that I respect a lot was able to say, hey, look, I can't do that, but I really love your trick. That's awesome. And so that meant a lot, definitely a confident boost. So anyways, that was a reiteration, but also here's a little quick tech recommendation. If you're doing videos straight to camera for YouTube, or you're making promo videos or whatever, anytime you're saying things, I have a terrible time. This is one of the reasons we started Monday Club, and I think I've gotten better over the time, is I have a terrible time just talking off my head. And so I bought a teleprompter for my camera.
Nice.
And it's called the Parrot version 2. It's really tiny. It just screws onto your lens of any DSLR, and it uses your phone as... anyone who doesn't know how a teleprompter works, it basically has some sort of special mirror at a 45-degree angle. Your lens can see through it and doesn't see the reflection going one way. So it's kind of like a very weak one-way mirror. And then a reflection of your phone, which is horizontal underneath, reflecting up at it. So you can look right into the camera lens and see the words floating by. And it comes with a little app that you just cut and paste your text into the app, and you press start, and it'll start scrolling however fast you want it to scroll. And I haven't used it. I've tested it, but I haven't used it yet. But I'm super excited because I'm so much better at just writing out what I want to say, especially when it comes to videos, because you have such a short... You want to capture everybody's attention and give as much information as you can in such a short period of time, because everyone, time is valuable. People don't want to give that to you. And so just being able to write out what I want to say in advance and be able to say it verbatim without having to memorize it, I think is going to streamline everything I do from here on out for YouTube or any other promo or whatever. It's going to be awesome. So I'm super pumped. I think I will give it 2 thumbs up, even though I haven't put it through its paces. So
that's cool, man. What's it called again?
The Parrot version. It's a version 2. Parrot. Teleprompter. It was I bought it on B&H. It's about $117 when it comes with a little remote that you can control your iPhone with to play and pause the scrolling text.
That's so cool. Man, teachable moments all over the place. Mine is super simple. My teachable moment is this. Be safe when you're out there doing things. I know that I broke my leg, and so that might be like a counterintuitive thing. But I'll tell you what, guys, I tried to do everything that I could the safest possible way. And if there was any way that I could have walked out of that mountain without having to try to wall ride and get down, I would have done it that way. And when I did fall off and have to do my epic climb back up, I was so grateful for all of the safety equipment that I had. I had my helmet, I had pads on, I had boots on. I wish I had had even better boots. I think if I had better boots, I wouldn't have even had the leg problem that I have. So, yeah, just I see people driving motorcycles on the highway all the time without helmets, and just don't be a Monday Clubber that doesn't wear a helmet. Just wear a helmet. I wear a helmet when I go bicycle riding, and I don't think I ever get past 10 miles an hour riding my bicycle. But be safe out there. Wear the safety equipment that's there. It could definitely help you or save your life.
I agree. We can't afford to lose you.
Yeah. Our Monday Club ratings would suck so bad. Oh my God!
Go out there and have a good Monday Club. We will talk to you next time. And thank you guys so much for being part of Monday Club. Check us out, MondayClubPodcast.com, Facebook.com/Monday Club Podcast, Twitter @MondayClubPod, Instagram Monday Club Podcast. Buy us a drink. PayPal us at MondayClubPodcast@gmail.com. You can also email us there. And thank you so much, James Caldwell, our sound engineer, and Zach Holder for our music. Mojito Monday. Yeah, baby.